All right, so we have all seen the videos and the commercials for the Carvana car vending machines. Get your coin, put it into the slot, get your car that you purchased online. How does it work? Is it worth doing? Well, let's start off by saying why I was going to get a new car. I wanted something that I could haul my go-kart with, and I currently drive a 2017 Lincoln Continental. I love that car. I worked for Lincoln in 2016 to 2017, and I fell in love with the MKC because the seats were awesome. And then I fell in love with the Continental when it came out. I don't know why. I'm not really a Ford or Lincoln guy, but I thought to myself, you know what? I need something to haul my go-kart, and they don't make tow hitches for the Continentals anymore. They did for a period, but they're everywhere for the MKC. So I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to find an MKC, but it had to be just the right one. It had to be front-wheel drive without a sunroof, the basest of basey models, because I spent from 2006 to 2013, I was an automotive mechanic. I worked on Mazdas and Volkswagens, and I was a master, or not a master, I was a senior Mazda technician. I was about to begin getting my master certification, but I left the automotive industry for the Snap-on tool industry, selling tools to mechanics. Now I fix equipment for Snap-on tools and train customers how to use equipment for fixing vehicles. It's a good gig. I like it, but that's not what we're really talking about. I wanted something that was minimal maintenance, something that would be easier to work on. Wasn't a V6 like my Continental. Wanted a 4-cylinder. Didn't want all the extra drivetrain components with the all-wheel drive system, and I don't like leaky sunroofs. So I found one on Carvana, and I tell you what, I'm a trusting guy, okay? So most of the time when they say, oh yeah, we've done this 150-point inspection on the vehicle and everything's great, I'm trusting, and they have a 7-day return policy. So let me tell you what happened and why I will never buy a car from Carvana ever again. We had an appointment at 1:30. The staff member that was doing our paperwork to start the whole thing off didn't seem thrilled that he had to work and do our paperwork. He wasn't a friendly guy. There's one guy there who I was very appreciative of, but I don't want to say his name because in my experience, when people in these big major corporations actually care about their customers, they're the first ones to get fired. So we get our car, they bring it down, it comes down, they look at my trade, they don't even look at it, they just take the keys and sit down and put a couple stickers on the roof, and that was it. They accepted it. We got into our trade, and I instantly left the parking lot and stepped on the brakes, and the thing didn't want to stop. The brakes were pulsating really, really bad. It was actually, in the amount of time that I was a technician, it was probably the worst I have ever felt in my life. And there's a term in the industry we use called lot rot, where when cars just sit in the rot, the brake rotors will get rusty, and normally some deceleration will clean that up, some heavier deceleration, applying the brakes and just using the brake pad to clean off the rotor, the rust that's on the rotor, this and that. So I thought, all right, well, let's get on the highway. It's probably just really bad lot rot. So we got on the highway, and I stepped on the throttle to merge, and it started bellowing so much smoke out of the exhaust that we couldn't see any traffic trying to merge on. So the car was shaking. We turned on the AC. The blower motor was so bad that it too was shaking the entire dashboard, and my wife, both of our seats were just like, and I kid you not. Again, I'm a Christian guy. Like, it's literally exactly how everything felt with this car. So we turned around and went back, and instantly we're like, you know what? This is not going to work. It's not safe. I can't drive my family in over an hour home through Pittsburgh. It's not safe. The nice employee was like, yeah, call this number. We'll work on getting you your trade-in back and just canceling the works. So I was like, cool. This is very good. I'm very thankful for what they're doing. Then I called the corporate number. And they go, oh man, we're so sorry that you had this experience, but it's too late. You bought the car. We took yours in on trade. We can't give you it back. We don't even know where it's at. And I'm like, I'm looking at it. The car has not moved. No, the guys haven't even really got inside of my old car. It's right where I parked it. I'm physically looking at it. Oh, well, hold on. Let me talk to someone who's higher up. Wait 5 minutes. They come back on. Nope, I'm sorry, sir. They said there's nothing we can do for you. I gave the phone to the good employee. He talked to them for a period of time, and he hung up and told me to call back and ask for executive resolutions. So I call and I ask for executive resolution, and they say, no, we can't transfer you to that. What can we do? So I explain the situation again. They go, oh yeah, your case definitely will not qualify for executive resolutions. At which point I said, well, if driving a 7-year-old child and my wife doesn't count as a critical situation, I don't think that there really would be one. And what it comes down to is we spent 5 hours with my wife crying inside this lobby. People walking in like, oh my goodness, this is a terrible situation. One couple did leave before they were going to order a car, but they left. They didn't order it. I was happy to see that. And it was terrible because Carvana didn't want to help. They had received our money. They had given us a product that would not pass a Pennsylvania state inspection. A vehicle that they told me went through a 150-point inspection, at which point my wife got on the phone to talk to somebody. I went back out to look at the car, and I noticed that the not just the rotors, but even the backing plates for the rotors were incredibly rotted out. So I looked underneath. There's just so much rust that at that point they were telling me that they were going to get the engine fixed and they were going to get the brake fixed and not to worry. But after I saw the amount of rust that was underneath the car, I decided like there's no way that I'm keeping this car. So I got back on the phone and I told them like, yes, like we're not keeping the car. I'm returning it. And they said, well, drive it home and we'll start the return process. It'll take a few days. At which point I'm like, I can't drive this car home. So they offered to, they told us to get an Uber and that they might be able to reimburse us for the Uber. Might. They couldn't guarantee that they could reimburse me for the Uber. At which point they're like, they encouraged me to take the car home, a car that is unfit for the road. The guy that I bought that did the paperwork didn't even acknowledge me when I came back. It was the worst car buying experience I had ever had in my entire life. And as somebody who was a mechanic, let me explain to you why you should never buy a car from Carvana. The type of car that I received is kind of the type of car that type of business promotes getting, because they don't do a thorough inspection of it. So I can go online, tell them what my car looks like, what the condition is, give it to them, sign the paperwork, they buy it, they give me the money, and now I don't have to worry about it ever again. So it's pretty bad. Having said that, after 5 hours, we got our car back. So they could give us our car back. They didn't want to. They could. It took the right person to finally say, you know what? This is not right. Does that make the situation better? No. I am grateful that one person was able to do that job, but it shouldn't have taken 5 hours of them telling me to drive my child home in a car that would not pass a safety inspection in the state that it was sold in. and to allow me to leave the lot in it, and then to promote me to leave the lot again. Koby and I are going to be dabbling in on this kind of situation on the podcast in the near future. We don't know if it's going to be a long one or a short one. Thank you for tuning in, though. I appreciate all of you. Keep thinking like a tinker.